my friends, the great experiment.
The crew doesn't hate the XO, then he's not doing his job.
Good hunting is what you say.
It's part of the pattern, part of the plan.
Are they the lucky ones? That's what you're thinking, isn't it?
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's hot Cylon summer. We're a new Star Trek podcast by the creators of The Greatest Generation, and I'm Ben Harrison, and I'm excited to talk about Battlestar Galactica, apparently.
So excited. So excited we can hardly think straight or speak straight. I'm Adam Pranica.
You'd think I would be getting better at this on episode 10 of Hot Cylon Summer. Getting worse.
Not at all. It's summer break. It's loose.
I wish,
it's loose
man.
and conversational.
Yeah. I got some friends that are on family leave. They just had a new kid. They each get very generous policies from their company. 3-month trip to Greece.
That's the policy? You get sent to Greece? I might be rethinking my own childless lifestyle, if that's the case.
I know, right? Sounds good.
Nah, it's still not worth it.
Yeah, they're lucky enough to like have a house in a place where you can rent out your house for more than you pay for it. And
that's neat. I
mean, the logistics are mind-boggling, like lining something like that up and then just leaving your house to strangers for that long.
Wait, you mean having a kid? You've done that.
Yeah, but then like both having a kid and arranging for somebody to do a medium-long rental of your place, like vacation rental. I don't know. I don't feel like there's that many people in the market for a 3-month rental, right?
I don't know. I think many are these LA folks. I feel like who wouldn't want a 3-month stay in beautiful Los Angeles?
Well, they're New York folks. So.
Oh, well, scratch that.
Wow. Next Bell House show, poorly attended after that remark.
I don't think there's anything wrong with loving where you live, as I currently do. Feeling good.
I want to know what that feels like.
What's going on over there, man? Still sleeping in the studio?
I think tonight I might get to go back to the bed after nearly 2 weeks of sleeping hard.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What is it like out there? Is it like a dorm room in the studio right now? Just like cans strewn about, paper-based pornography on the flat surfaces.
Oh yeah, I've got a pyramid of finished spindrifts in the center of the room.
Ben, I know, and I think FODs also know, you are a one-bathroom household, and that bathroom is not in the studio building. Are you using a bucket? What's happening?
I don't use the bucket anymore. I've kept it to remind me of how I used to be.
You using the yard?
No, I'll walk back to the house, but I don't get up to pee in the middle of the night that often.
Oh, wait until you're 45. Wait until you're me.
I know it's coming.
Yeah. Using night lights to shuffle around.
Yeah. I got a headlamp for reading at night that you click the button twice and it goes on red so that it doesn't kill your night vision.
I've heard that this is a useful setting for phones. You go to the red setting for phone so that it's bright light, it's blue spectrum light especially, just goes away. It turns into red in a really good way.
Yeah, and that blue spectrum light's supposed to be the thing that throws off all your circadian. So I'm not above admitting that I've taken a couple of red headlamp walks out into the yard when I didn't feel like going all the way back to the house.
Yeah, got to.
Call it the red light district back there.
How many mosquito bites do you have on your shaft at this point?
I am kind of a pincushion of mosquito bites at this point. The bug catcher is working overtime. It looks like a carpet sample on that adhesive pad that it's trying to catch the bugs on. But
that crank looks like a pickling cucumber.
Yeah. Very itchy. I'm an itchy man. Told my buddy, like, is it worse having COVID, like my wife, or is it worse being nearly on week 2 of straight studio floor sleeps? I would argue that I need some couch lovid. you know?
And the pharmaceutical commercials, just a bunch of folks dancing on their couches.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you a floor sleeper as opposed to the couch? Is that where you're at right now?
I am, I would say, about 50-50. Like, the couch in my office pulls out, but I ordered this couch
But you
off
don't.
of... Yeah, no, I'm siring them left and right over here. The couch pulls out and like unfolds to a futon, but I'm much longer than the couch, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really make for like that great of a sleep.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shitty couch at the best of times.
You ever go out on a late night adventure now that your wife's not paying attention? She's got COVID. She's in the bedroom. You're out in the studio. You can do anything.
If I were getting better sleep and able to stay awake late, I would be considering that. But
Too tired to adventure.
it's
Yeah.
not happening for me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tonight's looking good. That second stripe is getting fainter and fainter.
Oh, we're going for fully not there. Faint doesn't count.
Faint counts as a positive test, is my understanding. You know?
You know what that is, Ben? What's wrong with Ben this time? Oh, man. You know what? That first great night of sleep back in your bed,
It's gonna be
it's going
great.
to feel incredible.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope you sleep in until 7 or 8.
That sounds amazing. I was up at 5 a.m. Today, so 7 or 8 would be like a full-blown late sleep for me at this point.
The thing I never mention, the thing I dare not mention to my wife on the occasions when I have to sleep out in the studio building is that I sleep better.
Yeah, well, because you're talking about an actual bed.
I also sleep like I'm dead, and my wife sleeps like she's awake.
Yeah.
And that there's an incompatibility there
Sure.
that she can never know about.
Yeah. My wife told me that she saw me sleeping hard at one of these points and said I looked like I sleep in the first act of a Law and Order episode. Which I guess is the same as you, sleep like I'm dead.
So, double tap wounds to the chest and one to the head. Medical examiners said that they soiled themselves before death. That much is clear. Full evacuation, fore and aft, if you will.
Yeah. Whoever did this was a pro.
You might actually not want to smoke around him. I know it seems like the thing to do, but he smells flammable, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like they've been burning a lot of their fuel in the human fleet here in this episode of Battlestar Galactica. Do you want to jump into the episode, Adam?
Can't wait, Ben. Can't wait to talk about Battlestar Galactica. Season 1, Episode 10, The Hand of God.
Sometimes you have to roll the hard 6.
How many press conferences have we had on this fucking show?
It's becoming the McLaughlin group of Battlestar.
It is, yeah.
Issue 1.
Why do we have this kind of scene and so many of them?
I'll tell you why, and it's not because you don't already know. It is a very efficient way to convey story information to an audience who might just be starting this show for the first time.
Assistant Cousin Greg is Assistant Cousin Greg Exposition. That's his last name.
He is, yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
The fuel reserves, we learned from the president in this scene, are down to 5%, which spread across the fleet gets them 2 more jumps. So, bit of a desperate situation.
What do you think are the odds that these ships have the low fuel light?
Oh, like
There's always a light, isn't there? I bet you there is.
Yeah, that sounds good. Do you think they also have like the low tire light that nobody knows what it means?
I mean, there are lights for all of it.
Yeah. Here's a fun game. I was not a carman for so much of my early adult life because I lived in New York, and I never knew what the low tire pressure symbol meant.
Yeah.
It was just like an inscrutable thing that I would see occasionally when I took a cab or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I learned what it meant, every time I took a cab or an Uber or a black livery car or anything like that, from then on, it was always on every single time.
You know what's so weird about that symbol? Why is that the symbol? Why is it cutaway of tire instead of tire in profile?
I don't know.
No one looks at the tires the way that the symbol displays it what a tire looks like.
It doesn't look like a tire, and there's those little like castellations at the bottom.
Yeah.
What is that supposed to be? The tread?
You know what it should be? A round-ass tire with a poot cartoon like coming out of it.
Right.
Like air shooting out of it.
Like the tires on the taxi in Who Framed Roger Rabbit is how the tire should look on the dashboard.
It's not hard. Why aren't things like that?
And why are there so many fucking snakes on this lectern?
There's too many goddamn snakes on this motherfucking lectern!
The distraction level that the president goes through when she is trying to address the media on camera is Baltar-esque. She is not holding it together. She is not maintaining. She is not giving a convincing display of everything is okay with me.
In her defense, though, she sounds about as coherent as any of the last two presidents we've had over the last 8 years. I love the variety of snakes there are on the podium. Like, it's not just a bunch of, like, creepy gardener snakes or whatever. They're actually pretty beautiful.
Yeah, and there's some ones that, like, I mean, I'm no snake expert, but I know that, like, you look for the diamond-shaped head on the poisonous ones, and there were some that were like, I think that might be like a poison snake actual, you know?
If you're a person who takes psychedelics knowingly, and President Rosalind has been taking Chamala extract for a while to treat her cancer symptoms, you gotta be prepared for something like this, and in her defense, I feel like she is. All the way up to the point where she just abruptly turns away and walks and leaves her own press conference.
Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of holding it together admirably here.
She's doing a great job. We do not get a B storyline of, like, the press going absolutely ham on her fitness to lead based on whether she's, like, you know, mentally all there or whatever. Kind of felt like we should, but maybe the fact that we don't is meant to be persuasive that she did convince the press that she was just, like, ending the press conference.
What do they do if they can't find fuel? The idea on the table is to, I mean, if it gets that desperate, one of their last jumps is going to be to a planetary system that's habitable, and they're just going to put roots down there. What else can they do? That's pretty risky, right? That's basically the last thing that she tells the press before wheeling around.
Yeah. I mean, nice to know that they've thought that far ahead, but also distinctly unnerving to know that they've had to think that far ahead.
If I had 2 jumps left, man, I gotta say I'd give myself 5 jumps, because if that first place seems like it sucks, I wouldn't want to leave myself that few outs, you know?
Like, if they jump and it's like an Arrakis-like planet, it's like, yeah, like technically you can eke out a living here, but like, yikes.
Yeah, I don't like those chances. And really, I mean, later on we learn that those chances aren't great.
Right. So we cut over to Boomer and Crashdown, who are one of the many Raptors that's been sent out to nearby star systems to look for this type of fuel that they need. They are scanning, and they're having fun workplace banter while they do it. And Boomer, of all people, encouraging fraternization with other members of the Battlestar Galactica crew when it comes to Crashdown's life, despite how badly it's worked out for her in her own life.
Isn't it always the folks in your life with the worst relationships that have the most advice? for you about how yours should be. It's great. The thing about Crashdown that I'm starting to feel is that I really like Crashdown, and I don't want him taken from me through some bullshit death. But his proximity to Boomer makes that chance pretty apparent, right?
Right. He has the reddest shirt of anybody in the peripheral cast of this show.
I did not expect them to find this ore so fast because we've seen scenes like this before between them, like in the search for water, for example. Like I thought this would be stretched out for far longer, but no, they've got it and woohoo.
Yeah.
It's a party.
I loved that Boomer like claimed some of the heroism mantle and Crashdown like took some umbrage with that.
It's the world's shortest party.
Yeah, they're like in the middle of feeling a lot of relief when they see the cloud of Cylons cruising around the neighborhood and realize this fuel is not going to be so easily got.
Yeah. After the theme and aboard the Audrey 2 and the CIC, everyone is just lamenting their bad luck here. God. Oh, we almost had it. Those fucking Cylons are refining it first. Not a lot of good options on the table here. They kind of go around the room trying to figure out what to do next, but Adama kind of cuts through the conversation. He's like, what if we take the tylium ore from the Cylons? What do you think of that?
We're just going to go get it.
And the conversation between him and Colonel Ty and Gaeta and Apollo, this is not exactly a team that is enthusiastic about this plan.
Yeah.
Because they are extremely outgunned. I've kind of been keeping score. I haven't really been keeping score, Ben. They've lost every skirmish against the Cylons up until now, right? They are undefeated, the Cylons are?
The Cylons seem to be undefeated,
Yeah.
and it's mostly just been like tactical retreats have been the closest thing to victory that the Battlestar has racked up. And this is precisely the time that you turn around and start swinging, apparently, in Adama's mind.
The stakes are so fucking high, though, because it's not like normal strategy where you're like, okay, this is a resource we need. It's worth fighting for. Let's go get it. It's different when the stakes are if you lose that battle, you lose the war, and then all of humanity is dead.
Right. Their backs are really against the wall. So Adama goes down to the pilot briefing room where he finds Starbuck with her back also against the wall because she's briefing the pilots.
The class she's teaching is how not to get killed by a Cylon missile. Pretty great.
Yeah, and like tactics that seem to play into a lot of what goes on in the rest of the episode. One of those distracting moments where like a school administration person silently enters the classroom and starts observing, and it's very clear that the teacher wasn't expecting this.
That's a great comparison. And the students are a little uncomfortable.
Right.
By the power shift dynamic.
Right. We want to like make the teacher's life a living hell, but we're more loyal to the teacher than this fucking suit that just came in here.
My wife went to the Dodgers game last night, and Edward James almost was there.
Oh, wow. I feel like I've been at games that he was at, too. I think he's like kind of a big guy that you see at the Dodger game.
He's a man about town,
yeah,
isn't he?
Good for him.
Super great.
I guess he was inside the box at the Dodger game last night, but he wants outside the box thinking from Starbuck on the battle plan that they're putting together for this raid.
Delightful.
We'll be right back.
Out of the box is where I live.
Starbuck is just crazy enough to seek out advice from, and that's an exciting workplace opportunity for her, maybe?
Yeah, way more exciting than teaching like civilian pilots how to be fighter jocks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and way more exciting than this conversation between President Roslin and Elosha over on Colonial 1. Elosha is the spiritual leader of the remaining humans, and she tells her about the visions that she's been seeing after her awful press conference experience, and Roslin's description really shakes up Elosha here, because what she's describing is straight out of the religious texts that Elosha's so familiar with.
I like that initially she was like, there's no way you're not just like pulling my chain here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's her initial feeling is so interesting.
You read Pythia, and now you're having me on.
No. Who is Pythia?
One of the oracles in the sacred scrolls.
This text includes some details about seeing serpents. Like the gods will show the leader serpents, and that leader will get us to safety, but also that leader won't survive to see the victory that we achieve because of a wasting illness. And
assistant cousin Greg kind of leans in through the doorway and is like, and there's like an assistant character who then like ascends to the throne in that leader's absence and so forth, right? Like, I haven't read the texts, but that seems plausible, no?
Yeah, the next chapter and verse are about how good he is at running a press briefing and that being like the thing that really propels him to the halls of power.
Yeah.
Is that in there?
In the ancient text, just as it is in this scene, their final destination is Earth.
Yeah. Is that House of the Gods? Or is that from later in the
I think
episode?
that remains to be seen, yeah.
There was some reference to House of the Gods, which definitely isn't Earth. Earth sucks.
How's that plan to attack the Cylons going, Ben? It seems like the initial sketch of it, that's done by Colonel Ty and Apollo. And what I love about their plan is that they have assembled a giant custom table.
Yeah.
And it looks amazing.
They have like battle scans of the asteroid field that this rock is in that they're going to be attacking.
Yeah.
And they're printed on like translucent paper that's rolled out on the table, and they've got little toys. They've got like guys with shuffleboard sticks pushing the toys around the table.
Yeah, you've got craps people like with those little hook sticks on them.
Oh yeah.
Moving the models around. It's great.
Starbuck takes one look at their plan and she's like, great plan, never going to work. And her argument is like, because it's a perfect plan, any like failure in the system will doom it. So what we need to do is a way better plan. And this is not met with a ton of appreciation by Ty especially. But Adama is also a little bit miffed that all of this work that Adama asked them to do specifically is being immediately undermined by the other person Adama brought.
Starbuck's like, look, I'm not a super religious person, but in my religious text, the book of Star Trek The Next Generation episode Best of Both Worlds Part 2, there's a conversation between Guinan and Riker that goes something like, in order to defeat your enemy, you got to take the book of strategies that you hold so closely to and throw it away. Mm-hmm. That's the only way to win.
And then verily they looked upon thine enemy from the perspective of thou mosquito.
And then thou hast ready to sit in that chair, for it is yours now. So ends the reading.
You can speak to us normally.
So this kind of like transitions into the mission brief with a much bigger crew assembled, including the president, where they're talking about what the plan is and how they're going to execute it. And there's a big amount of talk about this decoy ship that they're going to send. Like they're going to drop one of the civilian ships into space near the base so that the Cylons send all their raiders out to attack that. And then when that's being attacked, they'll have an opportunity to go at the base.
How badly did you want just any scene at all from the perspective of the decoy ship? Hey, gang, we picked up a mission. You know how we just been sort of cruising around here doing nothing? Oh, man, I'm going to open it up. Let's see what they're telling us to do.
This is what we lost in going from 26 episodes a season to 13 episodes a season in television. Is like this show had the budget and the kind of creativity to do that episode. Like the crew from Alien, basically.
Yeah.
Like dead enders who never expected to be doing anything out this far.
It's a fleet of Nostromos.
That's what it's, yeah. And they should be like you know, Gaeta should go over there and like whip him into shape, and we see him from like the leadership, highly skilled military guy perspective in a way that we never got to before. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And then he like drops it on him. Like, this is probably one of those ones that you don't come back from, and they have to like really fucking have a dark night of the soul, you know?
That's what this show is missing, a dark night of the soul depicted on screen.
We get a lot of questions here. We learn that there will definitely be casualties on this mission. Like, people are going to die.
And riots.
But casualties aren't necessarily bad, right? That could just be like a bumped knee or something.
It's one of those gambles where in order to lose some, you stand to win quite a bit. This ore has that kind of value.
Yeah. And Adama talks about it as the punching the bully moment. Like, we're going to bonk the Cylons in the nose. I mean, there is no satisfying answer when the president asks, like, I mean, we're going to take over this refinery, but like, it takes time to refine ore probably. Like, what happens when the backup shows up?
Yeah, I am looking forward to that moment for sure. How much time do they have? That's unclear.
Yeah. We get another scene where Baltar is read in on this plan because specifically they want him to take a look at the like spy plane photos that they have of this Cylon base and pick out the best way to blow it up because they cannot use nuclear weapons. It like compromises the usability of the natural resource that they're trying to get their hands on.
This didn't feel as much like the writing flourish that it can sometimes be in a science fiction episode. Like, it kind of makes sense that if you use too much force, you risk blowing up the thing you're there to get to begin with.
Right.
You got to carefully destroy. That's the point of what they're getting at here.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like unusual. I mean, you and I have watched a lot of war films. Not that many of them address, like, what do you do when you get a great big pile of shit as the, like, conditions of victory?
Yeah.
I forget what it was called, but there was that one where they, like, stole a bunch of gold from the Nazis, and, like, it was a problem because it was, like, heavy and hard to move.
Yeah, they didn't have luggage with the correct tensile strength to pack it out.
Yeah, so, like, these are reasonable questions.
They really are. Gaius reassures them that conventional warheads are going to work in this case, but where is this ore kept remains the question. Because they can't just drop conventional warheads on this refinery and call it good. They need to be a little more strategic than that.
Right.
And we get a little interstitial scene here where we go into Gaius's mind vacation home. He is agonizing over the fact that the fate of humanity rests on what may just be a guess for him about what target they should choose to drop these warheads on.
Right, because 6 is not coming with a like latitude and a longitude that he can give them.
She used to be a lot more helpful, and now she's very hands-off, let go, let God kind of person to him.
She's like a great online service that used to be free, but now there's like a freemium model, and like a lot of the features that you used to really like are getting like turned off or made to be something that you have to pay for. And it's like, God, this just gets fucking worse and worse.
I mean, they can be free. You just need to believe in God.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is that theological debate over like whether what he is doing is what the Cylon God wants for the Cylons. And she's like, no, man. Like, God is just God. God is not the Cylon God or the human God. God is the God. And you got to give him an answer. I can't massage you here on this bed all day.
There does seem to be a fair amount of God measuring contest happening here between them, right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem still completely on board with the monotheisticness of her beliefs yet.
Yeah. Though he protests that he is.
Right.
So we come back to the dark room where he is looking at this projection with everyone, and he picks a spot and points at it and says that, like, that's the thing you got to blow up. That's going to have a ripple effect.
These launch tubes here, that's what I think are suspicious. Launch tubes, and that looks like a yellow cake facility right next door.
And they're like, wow, That is really compelling stuff. We should definitely let this guy do what he wants to do.
Good hunting, everyone.
Where would the staging tanks be, Doctor?
There. Right there.
Did you know there's a gym on the Audrey too? I was delighted to see this, and it's not just machines. I mean, there's like a leg press situation in there. It looks like there might be free weights and treadmills and so forth.
Given who they're at war with, the machines have got to be kind of a political hot button, right? Like you walk into a gym that's mostly machines and you're like, ah!
I tell you what, I would not be using clip-in shoes for my Peloton if that were the case.
No
I would
way.
I'd go with the kind you just stick your shoes into the cups.
Yeah. Those are easy release.
Adama's in there to visit Starbuck, who's at the leg press machine, and she's putting up some weight, and it's impressive, but it's not impressive to Adama because Doc Coddle has told Adama that she's going to have to be a lot stronger in the legs department in order to survive this mission and to lead it. And so to demonstrate, Adama gets on the bench.
Yeah. And he's like, you have to do airplane with me.
And grabs Starbuck's neck and groin area and starts repping that out. Repping it hard. Like these aren't max lifts.
Yeah, like he's doing sets with Starbuck.
And then he sets Starbuck down, like goes to get a towel and some water, and then some other fucking dipshit comes by wanting to use the bench. She's like, no, I'm in between sets. All right? Starbuck's for me. You don't lift her. She's for me. And then he lifts Starbuck back up again and then puts down another like 16.
Yeah. What the fuck?
With 45 plates on Starbuck's back. Adama's fucking ripped. And it makes the point she's not strong enough for this mission.
You have to sit this one out.
The gas pedal on those Vipers gets very heavy under 6Gs, so she's going to be in the CIC for this one. And she goes and briefs Apollo about this, who is brimming with confidence about his ability to carry this mission off.
Like this moment for them. They've got that kind of relationship where they can just describe the elephant in the room right to the other person. Like, no one thinks I should do this, Apollo says. No one thinks I'm good enough to do it. No one thinks that I'm better than you, certainly, Starbuck. Yeah. All I can do is my best.
You think that there's ever been a situation where a couple of bad improvisers get on stage and one just starts describing the elephant in the room and the other's like, no way, man. That's a 600-pound gorilla.
I think if you go to one of the dozens and dozens of improv stages in LA, you will see a scene exactly like that. Haven't been to a Cylon-occupied Caprica in a while. Let's go there.
Yeah.
That's where Boomer and Hilo are walking through a barn. And he comments on the idea that they haven't seen any humans, like, at all. And I'm like, have you seen any horses? Not a single living horse either.
If humans were horses, am I right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting moment because, yeah, like, I mean, I guess, like, he knows that there are Cylons that look like peoples. But yeah, like, they're talking about this. He's totally confused. He's also confused because they have the "we're in Mexico" filter on the camera, but it's also raining outside. And it's like, how is it Mexico and raining?
They somehow find the hayloft area of this barn, and it is just filled with riding crops. Like House of 1,000 riding crops up there. What does one barn need with all those riding crops? Boomer's going to find a use for them.
Jackpot! Is the implication from her barfing that she might be preggers?
This is a question I wanted to ask you. If they had done it like days ago, How soon does the barfing happen? How soon did the barfing happen for you? Probably like refractory period, right?
There hasn't been any barfing for my wife, as far as I can remember.
Daron did not cause barfing?
Daron caused no barfing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, lucky as hell.
The diarrhea was a fucking tsunami. Like,
oh yeah, we're still cleaning it out of cracks in our bathroom, you know.
Cracks in the ceiling.
I had that the other day. When like orange juice stays in your fridge a little too long and it ferments.
Yeah.
I opened an orange juice the other day and it got me. And then I walked into the kitchen like 2 days later and I looked up at the ceiling and I was like, it got the ceiling. Holy shit. I didn't notice that when it happened.
Wow.
I was focused on like getting it off my glasses and like changing shirts.
The most heartbreaking fermentation to me in the fridge is the salsa. The fresh salsa, especially.
Yeah, that's a killer.
If you don't get at it fast enough, it's going to start to burble and it just doesn't taste right at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know that brand Grillo's Pickles?
Yes, big fan.
They make a salsa called Pickle de Gallo.
How is that? I've been Pickle de Gallo curious.
I enjoy it. It's exactly what you would think it would be. But like many fresh salsas, it has like a pretty aggressive, like, eat this within a certain number of days after opening warning on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's pickles. Like, it should be pickles.
That's not how pickles work.
Yeah.
That's how salsa works.
Yeah. What the fuck? Grillos?
For a long time, for decades even, I'm a simple man. I like simple pleasures. I like simple pickles. The Clausen pickle, I feel like, is the superior supermarket pickle.
Yeah.
Always been my favorite. But they were out of those last time I was at the market. And so I got a thing of Sonoma Brinery pickles.
Oh, those are good.
Manhattan-style pickles specifically. And that is as close as I've ever found to a pickle that I like as much as the Clausen. They're so fucking good.
That's a solid pickle. I like that Sonoma Brinery company quite a bit.
Well, I'm new. I'm new to their game. I'm a fan.
Have you ever messed with McClure's pickles? I don't see them out here. They're in every supermarket I ever went into in New York, and they're like a little bit spendy. Like, you're talking like $12 for a jar that feels like it should be $8 or something. But man, it's worth it. They're so fucking good.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of pickles, the Adamas are in a bit of one because neither of them can sleep before the big mission. They're hanging out in the hangar bay, talking about the Mark II Viper. Big Adama gives little Adama a little trinket, something that's like kind of a good luck charm to him, but it feels a little freighted. Like when he describes how his dad, never lost a court case if this was in his pocket. Little Adama's like, okay, so you are stressing about like the survivability of this mission for me.
I'm really glad you brought it up that way because this seems freighted with pressure. Like, I would think that you don't want to be the first one to lose with this thing in your pocket. That feels like the pressure to me. It's not.
We got a good thing going as a family when it comes to this lighter.
Yeah, this seems like the gambler's fallacy of like the roulette wheel. Like it's been red 8 times. It's going to be black, right? Yeah, and I like how Apollo's character goes through this scene, not with a sense of like gratitude for the good luck charm that's definitely going to get him through this, but with a feeling of like, I'm spinning out here, Dad, and everyone around me thinks that Starbuck would be better at this than me. I feel that. I hear it.
Yeah.
It sucks.
He does not like the situation being that everybody knows he's the second best pilot on the ship.
Apollo goes on and on about how this is making him feel and all this pressure. And what the fuck is this, a Guinness commercial? What is this music playing in the room that we're in?
Guinness draft straight from the bottle. Enjoy it everywhere.
You're gonna need it.
I guess it's because there's a good luck charm. Is that what's going on?
There it is.
Good luck charm invokes Irish music.
All right, we talked it out. We figured it out. Okay, good.
Hilo wakes up in the loft area of the barn.
Good thing there's all that hay around to absorb the vomit, right?
Yeah.
It's probably an advantage to puking in a barn that folks who don't own barns could never understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ben, if you had a barn out back of your house that you were sleeping in instead of a studio, you could piss and shit wherever you wanted.
Yeah, and I'd just get the stable boy to muck it out every morning.
Hell yeah.
Why don't I have a stable boy? Why do I have to have you think of shit like this?
I know you've got plans for a light remodel of the studio building over there. I think you tear those in half. We're going full barn.
Yeah.
We're making it with wood and hay and riding crops.
I'm going to see if I can get a home equity line of credit to finance my stable boy having lifestyle.
Yeah. Love that for you. It's going to be great.
6 is leading a phalanx of toasters down the road toward the barn. So he and Boomer freak out and make a break for it. And that's the end of that scene. And then we go back to Battlestar where they get their operation off to a great start. Their decoy ship shows up in space near the Cylon base. And they're very gratified to see a whole bunch of Cylon raiders taking the bait.
Just give us the scene where they don't know they're the decoy. Like the radio comm is left open accidentally, and they're like, "Okay, decoy ship is in position," and the captain's like, "What did you say?" Audrey 2, come in.
Sorry, no, I meant to say that on the other line. I was talking to somebody else about a different ship.
Buzz and play. You can bet they heard that.
I love this. I love how it isn't begin mission, proceed. It's we're in it. It has begun. And from the CIC, we see the battle unfold, and we cut between the little models getting moved on that big map to stuff happening out in space. And through the eyes of Starbuck and Adama and Roslin, and don't forget Gaius Baltar is in the room too, they get to experience what this skirmish is like. Unfortunately, this did not go according to the plan that we heard, because the Cylons did not send out every Cylon raider to go after the bait ship. They've reserved 50 that are headed for the Vipers, and when it's Viper on 50 Cylon raiders, the battle does not go well, Audrey 2. Yeah. It's a lot of yelling and explosions.
They're outnumbered 5-1. It's a very listening to Wolf 359 on the radio kind of a situation, especially for Starbuck, who wants to be there helping and is really going through a thing, which all-time great Adama pep talk is when he's this is a thing that you have to do when you level up the way I have and the way you are currently doing.
He pours them a couple glasses of water to cheers with, and he's like, "Hey, here's to not dying out there."
Welcome to the big leagues.
Oh, man. There's a pilot whose call sign is Fireball, dies in an actual fireball.
Yeah.
RSVP Fireball.
That other pilot whose call sign is sitting in a puddle of my own urine. that guy's wiped off the board pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Really sad. There's that pilot whose call sign is head cut off by the scimitar-like wing of a Cylon raider, which is kind of a mouthful when you hear it on the radio, but then you kind of get it, right?
And again, there's the last pilot to die in this scene, whose call sign is, "If only I had a special person back at home to tell that I love them," as my last radio message, but I don't, so I just guess I'm going to go quietly and sadly like this.
Yeah, which always kind of grated when they were in a scene where they were briefing the pilots and, he would have a question and get called on. But now I get it.
The Cylon Raiders look like Lucid electric cars, right?
Oh, they do kind of remind me of the Lucid electric car.
The Lucid proportions are very raidery, very wide and with that slit.
Yeah, yeah. I love the trunk on the Lucid. The opening of the trunk is all the way to the side of the car.
All the way. Yeah.
All the way. Ugh.
To the flow.
If I had $120,000, brother, I'd drive me a Lucid.
Yeah. You'd have to get a silver one because I bet those look exactly like Cylon Raiders.
Yeah, and I'm such a noted fan of Battlestar Galactica. They're like, this is going really bad. We can't afford to lose another fireball. Why don't you guys turn it around and retreat back to the Galactica? And seemingly that's just what Starbuck wanted.
This is a great moment because the energy of the scene up until now has been getting worse. It's just disappointment and hearing people die on the radio and so forth. But there's a pivot where Starbuck kind of leaps into action. And that's because all of this is going according to plan, a secret plan that President Roslin doesn't know about, which is hilarious.
She is momentarily pissed when it is revealed that, in fact, Strike One was not the principal attack element of this plan, but its own second decoy. And the first decoy, not a decoy at all. It's where Apollo and his Vipers have been hiding. And they're going to start flying toward the base now that all of the raiders have been summoned toward the Battlestar Galactica.
I think one of my favorite shots in the entire show up until now is the hatch blowing off of the ship and revealing that neat row of Vipers hidden under that compartment. It looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really great.
It doesn't bring back the brave fighter pilot with the call sign anxiety erection. And his great sacrifice that allowed this moment to happen.
No. This was also a surprising moment for me because Adama was like, all right, well, Cylon Raiders inbound. I'm needed in the CIC. And I was like, the Situation Room with the big plan of the attack that you're doing is not in the CIC? Like, you're going back somewhere else right now?
They didn't have room for that big table in there.
I guess not. But, like, shouldn't you just make your CIC be able to accommodate big table type situations?
One thing I wanted to ask you here. Kind of a lot is made about Roslin going like, President, why wasn't I told? And Adama's answer is super brief. He's like, look, this had to be like super need to know. And it's insane to me that the president didn't know, but that's what it is. What's not said here is that we still don't have an answer about whether or not these folks are Cylons, right? Or between the last episode and this one, has everyone gone through and we're just supposed to understand that everyone is a green?
I was expecting that to be part of his answer, but
Yeah.
Instead his answer is like, this is an old habit. Like, when an operation is secure, I compartmentalize the information, and the only people that know anything about it are the people that absolutely need to know about it.
That answer works to say the silent part, but I kind of wish the silent part was said in this moment.
Totally. I felt the same way. So the team that Apollo is leading are making this kind of strafing run toward the Cylon base, which is tough to attack when your guidance systems are being jammed on your missiles. I wasn't quite clear on like why he flew the way he did, but like there's something that they need to attack, and it seems like it's just too hot kind of in the immediate vicinity of this base. So he flies around to this canyon, and he's like, hey, like I'm gonna like go look for something. Don't mind me. And it kind of seems like he's flying off mission for a sec when he does this.
Apollo's like, I'm not a religious man, but I have memorized from the book of A New Hope, the chapter where Skywalker flies through the canyon and shoots into the hole and blows up the thing. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Hot Dog gets a kill in the group of fighters that's out in space.
Hot Dog is the Porkins of this squadron, right?
I mean, I would have thought, but Fireball turned out to be kind of...
Yeah, Fireball was Porkins. Porkins is Fireball.
Mm-hmm. So Apollo flies into this tunnel and comes out like on the surface within the area that the Cylon base has been set up, and I guess is like the guns can't like point back inside the walls. so the Cylons can't fire at him. So he has this weird moment of like relative safety while the battle rages all around him, and he figures out where the thing is that they have to bomb amidst all these like sphere tanks that are also there. He lets his bombs go, and they like tumble across the ground in a way that I found really surprising. Like, these are not the kind of bombs that have the like click trigger in the nose. They are on a timer, and they go under the part of the base that Gaius Baltar pointed out. And what do you know? That sucker blows big.
It's mission accomplished, and everyone is so fucking happy. So happy.
This is the first time that Baltar has cummed not from 6 doing something to him.
Well, it's interesting you say
just
that.
Relief cum.
Because his emotion feels a little different from everyone else's, right? His is more relief.
Yeah.
Like he came.
Right. Exactly.
And we're told that they now have enough fuel to last them a couple more seasons of this show. That's pretty good.
It's the luck of the Irish, Adam.
Pretty great. It looks like they're drinking wine. They're smoking cigars.
Yeah.
It's big fun on the flight deck.
Starbuck and the Prez have a big hug.
Yeah.
These have got to be like the last wines and the last backwoods blunts, right?
Yeah. Seems that way. Everyone's so happy because I think this represents the first win that humanity's had since the Caprica incident.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the board.
Nice to get a W after so many consecutive L's.
I mean, it could just be like the field goal that the losing team kicks before the game's over when they lose like 45-3.
Right.
They don't want to get shut out.
It's like we beat the spread.
Yeah.
It's just not... That's a term, right?
It is. Yeah, I think you used it right.
We go back to the vacation lake house in Dr. Baltar's mind where he gets read that same little bit of scripture by 6 that the president heard earlier. Interesting that like the scripture is the same, even though the pantheon is so different for Cylons versus humans.
Yeah, that is a thing.
But this is persuasive to him that he is not just a person who has converted to monotheism for the sex, but also that he is an instrument of God's will because he did the thing that helped them blow up the damn base.
He has a fun little pose at the end, too. Really like that.
Yeah. I feel like it's really enhanced by the deep V of his bathrobe, you know?
Yeah.
Did you like this episode, Adam?
So say we all. So say we all.
I love Caper. We've talked about this a bunch in movie shows that we've done, in TV podcasts that we've done. Like, I love watching a plan come together. And I love specifically the sort of plan that has a secret plan inside it.
Mm-hmm.
It's big fun when that reveal is made. I think it's cool. And I'm happy and relieved that Team Humanity got on the board here because it was looking and feeling pretty bleak for a long, long time. You need to, over the course of a season, have one of these. Otherwise, the show is just too fucking bleak.
Yeah.
It felt good. Everyone's happy. It's great to see people happy again. Except for Boomer on Caprica who's barfing.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem happy.
I was relieved that one guy didn't have a sweetie pie back home to say goodbye to over the radio, though, because like I feel like that's like one of the people that would be unhappy in this moment.
What sucks is like when you're given the call sign "No Sweetie Pie," I'm sure there's a moment where you think you have a sweetie pie and you want to change your own call sign. You don't get to do that.
You don't get to self-anoint.
No, he died as No Sweetie Pie.
He died as he lived.
RSVP No Sweetie Pie.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I think that the like relatively low amount of Baltar bullshit was a big part of why I liked it. And it seemed like looking at that base, like he didn't just randomly guess. It did look like a place where there was like a lot of tanks, you know?
Sure.
So I bought it, you know?
Yeah.
Also was thinking about like vipers and snakes. Like the ship is full of vipers. And the president's seeing all these snakes, and I'm wondering, like, are vipers good or bad in their culture?
Great question.
I don't know enough about their culture. I mean, she seemed pretty freaked out about the whole situation when she was at the lectern.
Nothing is made of Rosalind maybe wanting to dial back the medication. I wonder if she's just going to keep it flowing.
Yeah.
At this dose.
How important is Elosha, like, as a religious figure? Is she, like, the Pope of Battlestar Galactica? Like, I kind of wish she was more of a main character in that way. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we'd have a better understanding of what all the civilians are going through, which up till now have basically been not really fleshed out at all. They're like a total abstraction, you know?
Her job has to suck, right? Like, everyone wants to tell her how sad they are about the billions of deaths in humanity and how awful things are at the moment, and the snakes they may or may not be seeing while on hallucinogens.
Right.
Tough job for Elosha. Oh, and she's also doing all of the funerals. So
at least she can do like group funerals a lot of the time, you know?
Yeah, to save time.
Well, let's see if there are any nice groupings in the Priority 1 inbox, Adam.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
We got a Priority 1 message here, and it's to you, Ben.
Oh, to me?
Remember how creepy it was when the Borgs hailed Picard directly?
Felt like a mistake then, and it feels like a mistake now.
This message is from Kurt, and here it goes. Kuchonya! Kuchonya! Hungarian kuchonya, pig's feet. My family used to eat this on special occasions.
Okay.
Also, I recently had a gruesome series of dental procedures, not unlike yours.
Hey, congratulations, Kurt.
And for what it's worth, I had a lifetime front tooth gap, but decided to close it.
Okay.
Feel good about it. First half of life with gap, second half, no gap. Best of both worlds.
Wow. Remember when they hailed Picard directly?
I know. Kind of wild, right?
Wow.
That's Kurt's vote. Kurt stayed in line.
That's wild. Yeah, I'm still gathering all information. I'm gonna seek some other opinions before I commit to this, but I think I may be going for a gap closure myself.
Any theories about whether or not your love of pig's feet contributed to what's going on in that mouth? Or no? Unrelated?
You know, correlation is not causation, and yet.
Mm-hmm. You do not need orthodontia. You just need to chew on potato.
You know, some people avoid eating animals with cloven hooves.
Yeah.
And yet they'll make out with someone with a cloven mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like you. Well, it's not too late to vote or to drop a line into the Priority 1 message inbox for us to read. You can do that over at MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron. Get in there today. There's still a couple more episodes of Battlestar Galactica left. And you want to have your message enshrined in these episodes.
What kind of shrine y'all got?
Hey, Ben.
Ooh, what's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself an Edward Larkin?
Edward Larkin! I'm going to give it to Fireball. He truly died how he lived.
Yeah.
I felt also just bad for the number of pilots that died. Like, they did lose, like, they've talked about how they have, like, kind of a shortage of planes and pilots. And, like, the feeling is of such elation at the end when they win.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to spare a thought for those pilots. So Fireball by proxy is going to be my guy.
Everyone knows that you don't give yourself your own call sign. That means that my Edward Larkin is going to be the person that named Fireball. I think it's Starbuck. Kind of has to be, right? And I imagine just a little bit of her joy on the flight deck has to come from, God, I got that call sign right, didn't I? I mean, you don't want that to be the truth because he died.
Right.
But I mean, on the other hand, kind of nailed it.
Yeah, she's got to be pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, so Starbuck for me.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about next week's episode of Hot Cylon Summer. We're going to be reviewing episode 11 of season 1. It's called Colonial Day, when President Roslin calls an interim quorum of the 12 colonies. She discovers that democracy brings its ugly stepsisters, politics and deadly intrigue, to the party. Tom's Eric, the charismatic convicted terrorist, is elected as the delegate from Sagittarion and immediately proposes elections for the vice presidency.
That is exciting. Yeah, you ordinarily just want to do a series of primaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make it feel like someone hasn't been handpicked. I think that makes people feel a lot better ordinarily. See what happens next episode. Could be exciting.
I'm enthusiastic. I'm Zarek pilled.
Let's see if your pill is as big as a warning boy, Ben. The hit segment when we read a nice thing that a friend of DeSoto has said about what we do as a way to attract new viewers and keep the folks away who just wouldn't get it.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy.
A warning buoy.
We got a message on X, formerly known as Twitter, a website I encourage everyone to leave, but at Emergency Costumes said, "Do not buy the at Greatest Trek gaming mousepad from podshop.biz. You won't want to block any of the awesome art with your keyboard and mouse, and you'll never get any work done because you're too busy spotting references." As a person that uses that mouse pad here on my desk at home, I can completely sympathize with that. Every so often I'll move my keyboard to plug it in to recharge or something, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that little guy's down there. There's so many fun guys on there.
I gotta get myself that mouse pad.
Get yourself the mouse pad, man.
I got myself the giant Dota 2 gaming mouse pad, but that was a lifetime ago for me.
Yeah. Are you still playing Dota 2, or?
No, I mean, I gave up my dream of winning millions of dollars at the yearly championship, so
yeah, that's sad.
Don't play it anymore. Yeah, but I tell you what, you and I win Greatest Generation all the time.
That is true.
Got to get one of those mouse pads. Hey, how is it held up, by the way?
I've had it since before it was available because I wanted to kick the tires on it and make sure it was good. Paul Hammond, the guy that designed it for us, did an amazing job on the artwork, which is beautiful, and the quality of the product has held up. I'm in here using it every day, and it still basically looks brand new.
It's a high friction item, so I wanted to make sure I asked.
Yeah, and there's, your hands are making contact with it and stuff. Mouse pads can get gross, and this one has not so far.
That's good. I mean, especially when you roll it up to sleep on it like a pillow. As you've done the last couple weeks.
I've been using it as a blanket, not as a pillow.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, they're big.
They're big. They're huge. Thank you to Emergency Costumes for that message. The way to get a message on Warning Bois is to go online and say something nice about the show or one of the things we sell at podshop.biz, I guess. We really appreciate especially 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you use, because those do a lot to get us in front of new viewers, and that's the lifeblood of any show like ours.
Sure is. That's the meat and gristle of Uxbridge Shimoda right there.
Sure is.
Don't shoot our guns on accident.
Adam, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta get out of here.
I'm sad about that. This is the highlight of my week.
Sure is.
Love doing shows with you, man.
Same, but we got to leave this one in Wynde's capable hands. So take it from here, Wynde.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Next week on Hot Cylon Summer, it's Season 1, Episode 11 of Battlestar Galactica, Colonial Day. As always, we want to send a big thank you out to the Max Fun members who support this show monthly. Members get access to all the network's bonus content, plus the new bonus episodes that Ben and Adam put out every single month. You can set up your membership in just a few minutes at MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate it. Thank you to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. There's a lot to see on the Greatest Trek YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed over there. And there's also a new monthly newsletter that you can sign up for at gach.biz/mail. Those are both managed by Rob Adler, who, along with Bill Tilley, keeps the @Greatest Trek social media pages really fun, so follow those accounts and use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show online. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.